We now have a writer, a dowser, a geomancer. Rhea Wheatley specialises in the geodetic system of earth energies. She's been researching the sites around Stonehenge and Avebury and written some remarkable books about that area. Her father was also considered a Master Dowser, Dennis Wheatley, and she studied Landscape Archaeology at the University of Bath, amongst many other things. She runs many workshops and tours. She's involved in some of our tours we're doing after the conference over the next few days, including the private access to Stonehenge. So we're very grateful that she's come to join us to share her research on megalithic power and serpent energies. So please give a warm welcome to Rhea Wheatley.
Well, thanks for that introduction from Hugh. What I'm going to focus on today with you guys is having a look at the new finds at Stonehenge and Avebury. Because if we just Googled, for example, Stonehenge, we're actually seeing all the finds through a 1950 researcher called Professor Atkinson. And just recently, regarding Stonehenge, for instance, a new team of archaeologists have challenged everything we know about Stonehenge. So that's what I'm going to start with. For example, we're going to be challenging the dates, and we're going to be challenging what it actually looked like. Because we all have that archetypal image, don't we, of the grey stones on Salisbury Plain. But it's gone through such a checkered history, and that's what we're going to be starting off. Then we're going to have a look at Avebury, and some new finds there that, again, challenge the archaeological model. And we're also then going to look at Rollright, because I know there's a tour that Hugh's arranging for Rollright, for example. So I'm going to share with you some of the research findings from that area as well. We're also going to be looking at very strange radiation levels associated with aspects of Stonehenge that really defy physics. As if in some parts of Stonehenge they're actually generating gamma radiation. So we're going to be looking at that too. But my first slide really is like a bit of a make-up before and after of Stonehenge. I mean, the top slide shows what it actually looked like in the 1930s compared to its reconstruction today. Now, Stonehenge was really reconstructed by Colonel Hawley in the 1920s and 30s, and later in the 50s and 60s by Richard Atkinson. And you know what? When they found something, when they found a stone or a stone feature that defied explanation, they buried it. So when we go to Stonehenge, I'm going to show you the anomalous burial points of where they put the stones into the ground. And get this, we are told there are 5 big, gigantic trilithons. We'll have a look at those in a moment. But possibly there was another. And as you enter Stonehenge, they didn't know what to do with it because it didn't fit this kind of neat little 5 figure that I'm going to show you in a moment. So they buried that as well. So really, everybody's like looking at Stonehenge and thinking it's not what we're told. I mean, for example, this is a model done in the 1930s of Stonehenge. You can see round the outside, you have 30 sarsen stones. Each one had a lintel on. On the inside, you had the so-called 5 feature here of the gigantic trilithons, with a horseshoe shape here of blue stones and a blue stone circle going around the outside, which is said to be developed in different phases. Well, for a start, that's wrong. There was never a horseshoe figure there. There was probably another trilithon here, and this was one of the much later features we'll be taking a look at. So that's the model that we're shown that is Stonehenge. And we're always spoon-fed that everything really in the ancient world started around 3000 BC. But we're going to be using the archaeological papers, not the design of Stonehenge with the trilithons, because that's a worldwide code, if you like, included in lots of ancient sites from Turkey to Wessex. So we're going to be taking a look at what's called the first phase of Stonehenge, which has been on the TV lately, with the Riverside Project, led by an archaeologist called Michael Parker Pearson. And it was his team, the Riverside Project, that found that the first phase is said to be of a ditch and a bank, going round like this, with 56 blue stones going round in a circle. And that's what they call is the first phase. About 1.5 miles away at West Amesbury, you had another stone circle, probably of about 27 blue stones. So they were importing the blue stones, and if we use their dating system, that's about 3000 BC, for example. And apparently that stayed like that for quite some centuries. And then according to Richard Atkinson, the second phase of Stonehenge came in. And here we see the same ditch and bank. Now we have an avenue. We have the stones were taken around from the outside and put into a C shape. And they're called the Q&R holes by archaeologists. But now we know that is completely wrong. There was no phase 2. In fact, the whole of Stonehenge probably came at the same time when it comes to this section here, which is the 30 Trilithon, the 30 lintel circle I showed earlier with the Trilithons here. And you still have the ditch and bank that you can clearly see. But that isn't the first phase. In the research papers that I've read from English Heritage, given to me by Michael Parker Pearson in emails, well, I think they've got it completely wrong. If this all came at the same time, these features here are really strange. If you can see, this really kinks into the ditch and bank, because they're called the station stones, and there's 4. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 4 station stones surround Stonehenge. But these are on mounds, and you can clearly see them when you go to Stonehenge. But now they think that these were buildings. These were temple space within Stonehenge. They weren't on a mound. They had a whole D-shaped, a horseshoe shape building, and inside that building were the 2 station stones that never saw the light of day. They were the first features at Stonehenge, and it was brightly coloured temple space because the floors were yellow plaster. So we need to re-evaluate how we think of Stonehenge. These were definitely temple areas, and they came first. Then it was the ditch and bank, and then it was the stone circle. Now, when we look to those blue stones arrangements here, the ones that Atkinson in the slide I showed you earlier said they were like that circular shape. Well, they were re-excavated because Atkinson said he definitely found a dating system for that, and that was 2500 BC. But again, in another filed away archaeological paper, in 2008, 2 archaeologists that were digging there found some carbon. And that's like the holy grail to an archaeologist because they can date things from that. And they found that dated to 7330 BC. So now we need to say, well, if that dates from 7000 BC, this temple space here and this temple space here probably goes back even further in time. How much further, we don't know. Now, that first phase that I showed you, the 56 stones going around in a circle at Stonehenge, one fact we all need to know about Stonehenge, especially the blue stones, is apart from in 2008, that one bit of carbon found that dated it to 7330 BC, there has been no dating system. The archaeologists don't know the date of that phase of Stonehenge because they haven't found any artifacts. Because our ancient ancestors, when it came to burying erecting the blue stones rather, never put a deposit beneath them. So that is one phase of Stonehenge.